Hello everyone, welcome to this video presentation on NLP. We have a trainer who's called as Mr. Haokip. He's the licensed trainer. He's the only Indian in South India and he's doing a great job in South India on NLP. We are here to understand how it works, what is NLP, and this video is going to give you more idea on how NLP works and what is NS and what is Neurosemantic. And welcome Mr. Haokip.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today. And we know that you're busy and then out of your busy schedule, you're here to explain us what is NLP. And we know that you're the only Indian in South India who's conducting NLP training programs. Okay. Can you just explain us how this NLP works? But first and foremost thing is, what is NLP?
Okay. Now, before we go into NLP, I'd like to clarify there that I'm not the only NLP trainer in South India, but as far as Neuro-Semantics is concerned, I'm the only Indian Neuro-Semantics NLP trainer. So there's a bit of difference there, which I would later explain. So you were asking me about NLP.
Yeah.
So NLP basically stands for Neuro-linguistic programming. So Neuro-linguistic programming. So what comes in your mind when you think about Neuro-linguistic programming?
It's all about brain.
Brain? Okay, great. That's a good guess.
Okay.
Because neuro actually means the mind, or the mind, the way we map things into our neurology. Which is our body. So we are not just thinking in terms of just the brain, but the neurology as a whole, the whole body, having muscle memories. So that's the neuro part.
Okay.
So when we talk about linguistic, we're talking about how, languages that we speak and we play in our minds, kind of brings reaction in the way we behave, in the way we behave with others. So there is a connection of our language, and there's a connection of the way we have mapped things in our, because without language there's no way of mapping.
Okay.
Because there's, for example, words that you've never understood. If I say a word right now, you have no way of making sense of that.
Yeah.
If I say if I say Uitzel, what do you have in your mind? Because it's not an Indian, it's not a language that you would probably,
Yeah, I don't understand. That's the alien language for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a language. We have no sense of having a semantic reaction, right? There's no way of reacting to it. You just go blank.
Yes.
So that's the, now because Neuro-linguistic was actually modeled after three therapists. So there were two people, the co-founders were like Richard Bandler and John Grinder. So they were the two people who actually modeled three therapists, the way they communicated with people and the way they effected change in others' life. Because through the communication, they were able to make changes and help people, heal people of their minds. And how did those three people do that? And that was the magic, and there was a structure to it. And these two people, these wonderful geniuses, Bandler and Grinder, they were able to capture the magic structure within those communication, and then came the communication model, which we later know as meta models in NLP.
Okay.
So there's a neuro-linguistic aspect. So the reason why we say linguistic is that there is a structure in the way we convey to people that can affect the minds.
No, should I have to understand now, like every language has power to create a reaction in the body? Is that the way you say that?
Yes, it depends on the way you have mapped it in your mind.
Okay.
So, for example, I just said Uitzel.
Okay.
So you have never mapped those things before, and the way you and I map the same word may not be the same.
Okay.
For example, I might have I might not have any semantic reaction to a certain word, but then you might have a certain, for example, phobic people who have phobias, they might get a reaction, you know, they get shocked, or they just go back like this if they hear the word like lizard, and if they are phobic, they have phobia about lizard. I have no idea, so right now I can say lizard, and I can look at a lizard, I have no fear. But for example, another person who has already mapped it in his mind with a very bad experience of lizard, being fearful. The moment I say lizard, they can go into a state of fear. So those are the power of words. And there's a lot of linguistic sense in the way we ask questions, the way we communicate with people that can affect the subconscious mind.
Okay, I got that. You know, all I understand now is NLP is all about how you receive a message and how you map it. Is that correct? Is that correct?
Yes, how you receive and how you map it and how you respond to it.
Okay, the third one is
response.
Okay,
because
so
without
receiving,
response,
so we receive a message,
yes,
we think about it, and we respond.
Yeah, we respond.
So you talk about all the three states in NLP.
Yeah,
the way we receive should be in the appropriate way, and the way we think should be in the right way for us, and the way we respond should be the right way. What is right way and wrong way here?
There's no right or wrong way here. It's just the way you have mapped it so that your whole life, the way that you have mapped beliefs or whatever values that you have mapped in your mind, those have taken years of formation. You have started believing in those values. So you have believed them. You have put them in the back of your mind as frames to govern your everyday experiences. So those are very important frames.
So all that we're going to do at the end of the training program is we'll be aware of what we do.
It's not just an awareness of what you do, but having the ability to, that's where Neuro-Semantics comes in. The ability to metastate. The metastate is that human beings have this ability to self-reflect on themselves. Now, NLP primarily focuses on the neuro-linguistic aspect. When I say neuro-linguistic aspect, it's about the primary level. Most of the time, it's about what happens out there affects my mind. And I create a mental picture about it. I feel sad, I feel angry, I feel fearful, or accordingly I react to it. So that's about the neuro-linguistic aspects.
We're worried about, practical as a practical person. I'm worried about others respond.
Yes,
so that respond is going to be my response.
Yeah, that is the neuro-linguistic aspect. Now, when it comes to neuro-semantics, we are no longer in reference to the external world. It's no longer something out there is affecting my thoughts right now. It's about me reflecting on my thoughts, and I'm thinking about that thought and reflecting on that. So I'm no longer in reference to the actual stimulus outside, but I'm more in reference to the thought that I'm currently running here.
We just missed a term. What is Neuro-Semantic? You were explaining about NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Program. Now, often you refer to a word called Neuro-Semantic. What is that?
So, Neuro-Semantics is basically, it comes from the concept of Metastates model, which was invented in 1994 by Michael Hall. So this concept was that we can, as human beings, we can self-reflect on our thoughts, we can think about our thoughts, we can feel about our feelings. We can think about our thoughts, which means I can love someone out there, that's a primary level. I love someone out there. And then that's based on someone out there. So I love someone out there. But I can also love being in love. And that's a different state altogether. It's no longer in reference to that person, but it's more in reference to being in love. I love being in love. So that's a different level of metastates now. But it's still under the category of love. So I love being in love. So we can still go on like that continuously. You can love being in love of the love of your love. So you can go on like that. Or you can actually couple a lot of different emotions there. You can feel angry at someone. because of the external stimulus. Someone said something to you. That's a primary neuro-linguistic aspect. So you get angry there. After some time, with metastates, what we do is we can step back and look at ourselves. I'm angry at that person. I look at it, and I feel like I can feel various emotions. So I could be like guilty.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have been angry. Feel guilty.
Okay.
And after some time, I look at that guilty state. I can step back again and look at that guilty state, and I can look at it and I say, that's funny. And I can feel funny about my state of being guilty.
Okay.
And it can go on like that until I kind of create a frame around that. It's just, I can have different levels of emotions hanging upon the other external stimulus there. But what eventually governs is what kind of frame do I have in there about that event or about my internal experiences.
Okay.
So right now what we are concerned in Metastates is about what kind of thoughts and emotions are actually running in our brain. How do we want to run them? Do we want to run them, be always in a state of anger or unforgiveness or jealousy, stuff like that? Do we want to get stuck, or do we want to get over it and reflect on it and do something about it?
Okay, I have a question. What is metastate? You are often referring
Yeah,
as metastate.
Metastate, in other words, is self-reflexivity. Which means we can self-reflect. We can self-reflect on our thoughts. For example, you're interviewing me right now.
Cool.
And if I get nervous, you're interviewing me, so I'm in reference to you. So my fear or my nervousness is in reference to you.
Okay.
So that is not self-reflexivity. It's more of someone outside there created something.
Yeah.
So it's now, but however, right now, let's say I'm nervous. And then this state of nervousness, I metastate on it. I self-reflect on my state of nervousness. And I said, how funny. How can I be nervous? We are just alone. How can I be just nervous? And I look at it and I create a frame over it. It's funny. This shouldn't be. It's just funny. I can be playful about it. I can be joyful about it. So I can create a lot of higher frame, higher states or higher emotional states to govern the nervousness. So what happens is that nervousness is collapsed, and it can come under the category of being more funny. Okay. So nervousness is no longer, now I'm no longer nervous there. Maybe the primary level is nervousness, but I do have that self-reflexivity or that metastating power to metastate, just go over it and say, I'm more than my nervousness, I'm more than my thoughts, I'm more than my emotions, I'm more than my language, I'm more than my behavior.
Alright, is it like speaking to yourself?
Speaking to yourself, there could be
in
involvement.
Cricket matches, we used to watch, players, the batsmen particularly.
Yeah,
they speak to themselves and say, okay, you did that mistake, don't repeat it. Come on, is that the way you talk?
Yeah.
Is that the meta system?
In Metastates, there could be a parallel auditory system. We call that auditory digital. It's one of the the way we learn to process information. One is how we feel and talk to ourselves. So that could trigger that metastate.
Okay.
So this could be one way also say, hey, that's just a small mistake.
Okay.
You can do better than that. So you metastate over it.
Okay.
So you no longer look at the mistake and say, you don't go like that. You speak positive to yourself and you meditate on it and create a belief or a frame over it. So it is higher.
All right.
It's not just words anymore. It's more of a cognition level and emotional level, or it's a belief level abstraction that happens there in the mind. So that it starts governing the lower frames of behaviors, emotions, and thoughts.
Fine. In that case, I have a very big doubt here. Say for an example, the external force, which is so much going to impact my response. And according to Neuro-Semantic, you say that you don't allow that force to monitor or to control you. You control your thoughts. Okay. However, if that external force is going to create some big consequences, maybe a negative consequences, should I have to fear, or should I have to just live in fear, or I should be worried according to that external damages which is
No.
going to happen?
Now, we need to be more specific when you describe a problem, because as for example, we train coaches, so we ask them to be more specific. We meta
No,
model.
it's so severe. Something is very severe.
So what exactly are we in reference to? Severe in the context of what?
Okay.
Is this about a person? Is this about what exactly is the nature of the threat?
Okay.
We want to know that.
Okay. Say for an example, somebody I have to give my money back to them. I received some 1 crore from them, and I don't have money,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm really scared what is going to happen to my property, my wealth. And do you think this meta system will work out there?
Okay, so you're saying is that you borrowed money.
Yeah,
You borrowed money,
correct.
and then you are not able to pay.
Yeah, I am not able to pay.
Yeah.
That's the fear now grips my heart.
The fear grips your heart.
Correct.
Yeah.
And now I don't know. I'm full of nervousness, and then I don't know how to manage with that person. I don't know what is the response that's going to happen that particular
Okay.
time.
Great. Now, what is important is the outcome we seek is very important. How ecological is the outcome we want?
Mhm.
Is the outcome ecological for me? Is it ecological for my family? Is it ecological for my finances? Is it ecological for my friends? When I say ecological, it's going to be helpful to others.
Mhm.
So now we're talking about something that you've done, probably borrowed money.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot of things that happens there. Your meta programs can come in and start governing whether you're under responsible, you're over responsible, or you're responsible. Based on that, you will accordingly react.
Mhm.
So it's not just about metastates here. You can't just metastate on somebody. You just go and kill someone and try to metastate on them. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to see something ecological. When I say ecological, it has to be healthy for the system. It's not just for you. The system has to be healthy. Everyone that affects every decision that you're trying to make,
Mhm. Mhm.
whatever feeling you're trying to have, is it ecological?
Okay.
Is it realistic?
Okay.
Is it going to help others? Is it going to help you in the long term?
Mhm.
So for example, if you're meditating, let me not feel guilty, you do that. But is it going to be ecological for you? It will not, probably, because you will not be responsible, you will not be able to take action, you might not be able to do the necessary, long-term action planning to be able to repay or whatever.
Yeah.
So those are some quality check. We call that ecological checking, and there's a quality control that we do in almost all of the patterns that we do.
Mhm.
There's one quality checking. We call it quality control.
Okay.
We have to check the quality of the patterns or the thoughts or the beliefs or behavior that you want. So that is this ecological in every areas of your life,
Okay.
and is this quality?
All right.
Yeah.
In that case, I understand. You say that we have to apply this metastate way of thinking for good things, and for the things which are not in place, you better don't apply. Is that the message?
No. You metastate, basically you normally metastates, you can metastate over good things, you can meditate, but most of the patterns that we have is normally for situations which is where you're stuck.
Mhm.
Your life is not going ahead. You're emotionally stuck, or you're mentally stuck, your beliefs are stopping you, you have some undesirable behaviors, those are not getting you ahead, or you have some meta programs,
Okay.
those perceptual filters in your eyes
Okay.
that are governing everything that you do, and probably you're not getting along with people, or you're not getting ahead in life. So those are the things that, where metastates come in. We metastates, we quality control
Mhm.
our thoughts.
Mhm.
We let in, what is the final outcome, or what is the final quality of emotions
Okay.
that I want to send to my body regarding whatever I'm thinking right now.
Okay. Okay.
If something affects me and I let's say I'm failed, I mean, people say you failed. If I heard that I failed, and according to the standards of the world that I failed, if I just start believing on it, and I meditate on that, what will happen is I'll be commanding or sending a command to my nervous system, my neurology, saying that I'm a failure. So what happens is it's no longer about, you know, failure. It will affect my identity. It will affect my perception. It will affect my capabilities, my abilities. So once I start believing and confirming it, I send a command to my nervous system that it has to be activated, that I am a failure. So that failure, every time I think from that frame of, then there are different levels of frames. Frame of capabilities, frames of beliefs, frames of values, frames of your identity, and, you know, frames of your mission, your vision. So those are levels of abstractions that can slowly affect, depending on if you start believing and meditating wrong, or meditating on, for example, someone saying you are a failure, and you start believing and confirming it.
Okay.
So when you confirm it, you're meditating and saying, yes, I believe what you said about me. I'm a failure.
Okay. So we have set of questions for you based on management, leadership, operation, team leader. So let's talk about corporate life. How is this training helpful for the real operation, bodies, colleagues in the corporate world? And who should really learn about NLP? Who are your targeted audience? Can you just give some light on that?
Okay. Now, NLP can be applied by anybody. So as long as you have someone who starts individuating, when I say kids who can learn how to start individuating and being able to learn that they are distinct individuals. So even kids can start applying it, and it's applicable to all domains. It could be in the social sector, NGO, it could be in the corporate sector, it could be any hierarchy, it could be a CEO, head of department, you could be HR, you could be in the learning and development field, or you could be in the coaching field, you could be anybody. As long as you're a human being, NLP is going to help you. NLP and Neuro-Semantics is going to help you communicate, help you. Now we have this NLP practitioners workshop which is coming up in December and also in January, where I will be co-training with another two licensed trainers. One is an Indian licensed trainer in Mumbai, and then we have another Australian ISNS trainer, John Hunter Murray. So we'll be co-training. Now in this we will be having 8 days of boot camp kind of workshop, where each day we will be focusing on different contents. So there are lots of coaching aspects. The first two days probably will be mostly on coaching, but it still flows on to coaching, building your coaching competencies, how to coach people. And when you say coaching, there's a lot of skills involved there. Talking about how to listen to people, how to question people, how to listen to their, how to calibrate with them, calibrate their breathing, calibrate their eye accessing cues, calibrate the breathing, not just the breathing, but the tonality and of the skin tone, being able to watch everything and calibrate that. So those are the sensorial, external evidence that you kind of watch out when you listen to people. And there are also things that you listen for at the very meta levels. You listen to their beliefs, you listen to the values that they have, you listen to those internal constructs that they have, the abstract things that they have. So you're pacing them. You're mirroring them, you're pacing them. So these are things that we help people, so that you become a very good, very good listener. So that everything you capture is of quality, and the other person knows that you're actually, going into the map of the world and being able to, listen from that map of the world.
Okay.
So it's very powerful. So that's usually covered in the first 2 days. Then we go on to the third day probably, where we cover the meta programs. Meta programs are very powerful. It's the way you just behave in the world. So we cover around 60 plus method programs, and then we do also do that in the master's level, but then we will introduce them in the NLP practitioner, where meta programs are basically your perceptual filter. It's the glasses through which you see the world. You have no choice but to just move that way, because most of the time you will be thinking there, and especially if you have a driving meta program. When a driving meta program could make you do things you're not aware of, you're deleting many things that you're just focusing on. So for example, you could be, there are meta programs of matching and for sameness, or mismatching for difference. Which means if you have a meta programs, a meta program that perceptual filters of mismatching, you will only look out for what is not matching with my map of the world. So you'll be always questioning, you'll be always in that mode. You will never see the sameness. You will delete those things. So you have no choice but to delete them if that is your driving meta program. So what happens is, if you're a great mismatcher, you might come across to people as someone who is who's always obnoxious. They call it obnoxious, where you come across as someone who's who don't care about people's feeling. You just go and cut across their thoughts and opinions. You don't accept their opinions. You just mismatch. But it doesn't mean that all these meta programs are bad. It is good in the context that you utilize them. For example, a mismatch, you could utilize them in for good reasons in business contexts. You need to be mismatching for what could go wrong. So those are things that you can even ask. That's good. But if you just focus there and you don't have the ability or the flexibility to slide from that side and come to what could go right, to the sameness side, these are the things that are in place, or these are the things that we can start working on. These are you're more optimistic. So if you're on the other side, you're more kind of mismatching. You might come across very difficult to people. So these are the stuff that we will cover. A lot of meta programs that we cover. For example, being global. Someone who's global thinks in terms of they delete everything that's detailed, and they will not be able to function from the detailed place or meta program. You will always operate from that being global. You'll talk global, you speak global, and you'll never be able to come down to the minute details of how to do these, how to be specific, how to be detail oriented. And if you're also too detail oriented, you might not be able to, you'll be comfortable doing detailed stuff, but you will not question the global aspect of it. So you'll be being asked to do something and not questioning why you are doing what you're doing. Thing like that. And the global people usually like to ask the question why. So if you are training, especially in speaking to a large audience, and if you have a lot of people who are like global, if you don't answer the why questions, many of them will leave the training room and they'll walk out. Why are you here? The reason you're here is because, so you need to answer that question. But if you fail the other side of being detailed, because detailed people usually are the more how kind of people. How do we do this? How do I actually do what you're saying? They want to know that. They just don't want to know the concepts. They want to apply it, so they want to know the steps.
Some people are very detailed and some people are global. So just going to make them understand who you are. It is one thing where in Neuro-Semantics and practitioner, NLP practitioner, we help people to slide and be flexible from these meta programs, So we let them, if you are global, we help you. We help you go to the detail side. So you start seeing from there. It will become a challenge for you. So which means if you're global, that is your strength. But it becomes your weakness because you're not able to go there. So in the practitioner, we help you move from different continuums. So detail to global and global to detail.
You just kind of
So if somebody is very global, so you say that becomes their weakness. And somebody is very detailed and that becomes their weakness.
That's because basically they are not able to, they screen out, they delete the meta programs, just make them go global. If you're global. If you're detailed, you will only watch out for details. In anything that you do, you will always detail oriented.
The first point you said, match and mismatch.
Yeah.
Some people are too much into matching
Yes.
things.
Yeah.
They see all good things happening.
Yeah.
And some people mismatch and see.
Yeah.
Okay, they see only all negative things
Mhm.
coming forth. Any other meta example for us?
There are a lot. There are things like when you buy or where you trust someone. You could be trusting or you could be distrusting based on your upbringing. Your meta program would operate from being naive, that is trusting people blindly. Or you could be, distrusting people, which is I don't trust people. That kind of meta program you could have, and both of them are good in a certain context. Okay, for example, being trusting is good in the sense that you are open. You're open to build relationship with people. That is, I'm okay to be open. And you can slide on. You can kind of be skeptical about it, but then you can be open. That's good.
Okay.
But your weakness, if you're too open and too naive, people can take advantage of you.
That's true, yeah.
That's one thing that can happen.
Okay.
And the other side of the meta program is if you're distrusting.
Okay.
Distrusting people would normally close the doors of their hearts and their minds, and they'll think like 10 times, 20 times before they can even consider you as a friend or even consider building a relationship, business relationship with you. So they'll think long time before, so they might miss a lot of business opportunities. They might let go of a lot of good friends that they could have had. So they could lose a lot of people like that because of being distrusting, because that's their map of the world. They just, every time someone tries to build relationship, they go like this.
Okay.
So it's like that. So they might have had very bad experiences as a child, As a child, usually we try to start trusting people, and when we start trusting people and some people do not, are not what they seem to be, then we become mistrusting. So some people, we grow up like that, and we have the mistrusting meta program. We always look from their perspective. Some people are trusting meta program. So both sides, they have their goodness and their badness. So the only thing is that we need to learn how to slide from one end to the other according to the context. So these are contextual.
So you said it's an 8-day program. First 2 days goes with coaching, yeah?
Yeah.
And it starts with meta training.
Yeah,
how many days is that?
It's 8 days, first day, second day on listening, on calibration, and then we have supporting skills that we have, like I mentioned earlier, about how you support and calibrate for the words that they say, the predicates that they use in their sentences, and the emotions or the thoughts, the visual aspects, what are the things that are playing in the movie of the mind. You're able to match that and calibrate that, and the kinesthetic feelings that they have. So the listening, the supporting, those are the things that we cover in the first day.
Okay.
And then second day we cover states. States is mostly basically about neuro-linguistic states, or state management 101, we call it. It's about emotional intelligence. It's about being able to manage your emotions. Being able to get into states the way you want, whenever you want, to the right intensity, whenever you want to. That's what it is. So state management, very important, because you operate out of states. You communicate from state to state.
Okay.
Everybody communicates from state to state.
Okay.
And the quality of your life is based on the quality of your states.
Okay, that's interesting. I just want to know one more thing. How does the certification work? What is the certification is all about? Or who will get certified, and what does this certificate value for me? Can you just take us through the certification process?
The certificate, it's a triple certification. You get an advanced coaching essential certificate, which is approved by MetaCoach Foundation and also the ISNS. And that's one aspect. The second certification is that you will be certified as a neuro-linguistic programming practitioner, which is an NLP practitioner. So you will be a licensed, you will be recognized worldwide as an NLP practitioner. The third aspect is that you'll be recognized as a Neuro-Semantic practitioner as well. So you have a triple certification in this this training, because we cover a lot of aspects which are NLP based, and we also cover the Neuro-Semantic aspect. We cover a lot of coaching aspects which are, of a level of ICFs, continuing education level kind of coaching tools and skills that we use to benchmark. So normally the first day, second day, we'll be benchmarking people on their, listening skills, their supporting skills, their state elicitation skills of being able to get people into states.
Okay.
Get into what emotional states. So those are the skills that will be worked on. And so we have the first day, second day, third day assessment meta programs. The fourth day we also learn about meta programs. I'm sorry, not meta programs. We learn about modeling, how to model people.
Okay.
If you've been wanting to model people who are good spellers, like kids, how do they do that? If there is someone who is good in writing, what are the strategies they have in their mind, in the subconscious mind? We can learn how to bring that structure out, capture them, and we can replicate those behaviors and be able to model people.
Okay.
It could be living, it could be dead. So you can model anybody with these tools.
Okay, so 3 certifications
Yeah.
in 8 days. Those are all international certifications.
Yeah, those are international certification.
Okay, it is recognized all over the world.
Yeah, it's recognized all over the world because ISNS is one of the top 3 premium NLP body in the world. So they are like well recognized. For example, the Metastates model, which was introduced by Michael Halls in 1994, was recognized as being one of the most significant contribution to NLP by the International Association of Neuro-Linguistic Programming trainers, IA-NLP trainers. So the IA-NLP trainers have actually recognized that Metastates model, which was developed by Michael Hall, as being one of the most significant contribution to NLP, because it changed and redefined many things of the classic NLP.
Alright.
So let me just fill in some of the things. Like I said, day 4 we have Metastate, we have day 5 strategies and modeling of how to model people. Then day 6 we have timelines of the timelines that we have. People have, like I said, people live in the present, some people live in the future, they don't live in the present, some people live in the past and they're never in the present, and some people live too much in the present with no sense of the future or the sense of the past. So these are the things that we will cover on day 6 and day 7. And then we have final day, which is to benchmark people and to evaluate it's like a test that you do to check out how far have they applied, how far have they grown in the knowledge of the application of NLP and Neurosemantics.
Okay, so in the corporate world you say that this is going to bring changes in the day-to-day work culture?
It will.
Right.
It will.
So say for an example, if a CEO or a manager or a leader or team leader is going to attend this program, what would be the takeaway for them?
Now, especially the CEOs or key business people who are like chief executive officers, I would really recommend them to attend this program. Reason being, they will be able to select good team members and be able to profile people who can work with them. You can predict their behaviors, you can read and figure out people through the meta programs that will be covered on the 3rd day. There are around 60 plus meta programs where you will be able to predict their behavior and they can't escape those things. And you can help and you can apply and be flexible with yourself and your team, and you can also select people whom you can predict will consistently perform and be able to stick by you. And there are people who are like another meta program is like people who are self-referent, other reference, in terms of authority and all that. If you're a very self-referent person, you will never tend to listen to people.
Correct.
Authorities. You're like, authorities. So in such instances, if you're a CEO, you might not like to have such people, They should have the ability to move to the other meta program. If they don't have the ability, they won't be able to work under you or work alongside you. So you should be able to pick people, accurately as far as, having the best team around. This meta program template that will help you to select people and to work with them so that they don't fail you because it's in their neurology. So you can, select people who can work with you as a team member.
All right, so you say that managers, particularly leaders, team leaders.
Yeah.
Okay, already you said anyone can attend. However, in the corporate world, this is going to make big changes.
Yeah.
If I'm not wrong,
Yeah.
it's going to bring big changes. So, do you have any final say about this NLP, which you want to really make people to understand in a one-liner? Just want to, motivate others to join along with you on the December program. Now,
this is one thing that I would like to invite everyone. Some are, we have a lot of meta programs running in our mind. We have we have things that convinces us. It could be the people who are actually training it, it could be the time factor, it could be the location, it could be because of the information, the content. So we have a lot of meta programs running here. But apart from those perceptual filters, I just want you to open up your hearts right now to be able to just listen that what we're trying to do here is we're trying to help build up a community here in India, a neurosemantic community who can actually be able to be pioneers in helping people and help more people. And one unique thing about neurosemantics is that it's not just NLP. It's just not just those techniques of NLP. It has a philosophical and presuppositions and principles underlying it, and there are concepts and theories to back it up. And so we do have a very scientific based approach here, which will make sense of every NLP techniques that you've ever learned before. So if you're even an NLP practitioner before, I would recommend you to attend this because you will see this from a different angle like you have never seen before.
Thank you, Mr. Haokip, for your wonderful time. And this is going to be a really wonderful session, 8 days training program, 3 certifications, and hope you will contact us and you will have all the information in the link. Please contact us, please visit us, do call us for a demo session if in your office, in your company, if you require more information about this NLP. We are ready to come and give more idea, more light apart from whatever we covered today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Your Jaya Pratap and Mr. Haokip. All the best. All the best.